the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we've got Kevin Wilson with us.
Hello.
Hey Kevin, how's it going?
Oh, it's going all right.
Awesome. Enjoying the last little bits of warm weather as it's slipping into fall?
I was about to say, what last little bits of warm weather? Feels like fall already. I've already broken out my flannel and hoodies.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is supposed to be like 80 degrees and sunshine. So
yeah, and then it's gonna drop back down.
Yeah. Try to get another motorcycle ride in end of the season, and it's certainly getting pretty chilly pretty quick. I've already started unpacking like my sweaters and all my like wool and everything. So yeah, but fall's one of my favorite times of the year. I just love the crisp air. It just feels great.
Yeah, no, it is a great time of year. I love early fall. I'm not a fan of like late November fall, where it's just raining.
Yeah, I don't like the muddy. I like a dry fall. Muddy fall's not great, especially with the dogs. That makes it real hard. Muddy fall and muddy spring, not good when you got two dogs that love running around in the mud specifically. So.
Yep, that's what I'm going through right now. Even like every little rain we've got, we have a foster dog who loves rolling around in the mud right now. So
yeah, there you go.
And then jumping on my couch. It's awesome.
Oh, yep. That's the hardest. Yep. So I see actually we've already got comments on the live feed. Drew on Facebook says, "Good afternoon. Sounds great out there. What up with all these new haircuts? Is that our new haircuts? Is that somebody else's new haircut? I don't think mine's changed in like 4 years."
Yeah, my haircut's more or less the same, although I got a haircut after not having one for like 3.5 months. So
there you go. So it's just the fact that there is a haircut. There you go. But speaking of which, actually, I saw the other day that barbershops and hair salons can now start doing beard trims and eyebrow waxing again. So, you know, the Crown has granted facial grooming. It is now allowed and acceptable and probably taxable by the Crown.
Thank you, Governor Cuomo, for your eternal generosity.
Yeah, it's just such gracefulness.
He's so good to us.
That's terrible. What's the thing that you miss the most, Kevin? That we still haven't been granted back by His Royal Highness?
Well, being able to go to a sports game would be nice. Of course, the Bills season opener was Sunday. Usually I end up going to a late season game, so maybe there's still an option to be able to go. But I was like, man, not having fans out in the field, that stinks. I would like to be able to get out there and cheer some teams on. I know that's a small, petty thing, and I know why the restrictions are in place. I kind of get the sports thing a little bit, but also it's outside. You could just have people wear masks. And, like, what is the criteria for having things like this go back to normal, right? Like, what number do we need to be at to be able to go to a Bills game? That's... And I know that's a petty thing compared to like school and restaurants and businesses opening, but that's one
it's important to you, and that's the important part. I kind of feel like sports in general that have a stadium, you could so easily social distance. I mean, they could just shut down certain rows, sell less tickets. They'd probably make more money per ticket, or maybe not. I'm not sure. But because there's less available, that could drive the price up. maybe you don't have somebody serving you hot dogs in the stands and stuff. Like maybe you had to actually physically get up and go walk somewhere while wearing a mask, just like in a restaurant. Like you get up from your table, you put a mask on to go to the bathroom or whatever. It seems like those type of venues would be really easy to make social distancing possible. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, some areas have done it. At the Chiefs game on Thursday, there's fans there. So
Oh,
you
okay,
can't do it
great.
out in
So somebody's doing it.
Yeah, and again, I know it's a petty thing. It doesn't really matter. Like the bigger things are like not being able to go to funerals and it being difficult to go to some church services and it being difficult to go to, a bunch of other stuff and school.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I was thinking about this weekend is there's a small sense of normalcy in having football season start again for me, and it was just a little bit weird though because most of the stands were empty.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll tell you guys what I miss, but first I want to welcome you guys to jump on our live stream either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and put in the comments. Let us know like what are the things that the government's response to COVID have taken away from you that you want to see go back to normal. Whatever it is for you. For Kevin, it's football. For me, I gotta say travel. I was talking with a couple friends and just talking about the idea of going on a camping trip in a few weeks. And we're so limited in our options because we wanted to maybe go out of state. And we're like, oh, nope, that's a COVID state. That's a COVID state. Oh, we have to quarantine here. And, and then the question is, like, even if we chose a state that's not currently a COVID state, it might be by the time we go. You know?
Right. It's
So
changing so much.
yeah. So it really kind of puts you in a situation where you're really stuck and limited in your options. And not that being New York obviously has some great options, but sometimes it's nice to step outside of the state, try something new, go somewhere different. And right now that is pretty limited and hard to plan for.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'll say I tried to plan something last month and wanted to go out to Maine. Nope, not possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great example. I mean, my family has a trip coming up in the end of October. They go on every single year. And now the question is that trip even going to be possible? Can they go? Who knows? It's about a month and a half out. It's possible that trip might get canceled for the first time in 37 years or something like that. So just real quick, I'm looking at the live stream comments here. I see Will on YouTube says his friend's getting married at a courthouse because they can't have a ceremony in church. And that's just another thing. I actually remember when people couldn't even get marriage certificates.
Yeah. I think we did a whole show on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I see Matt on YouTube also says he missed his little sister's wedding due to the New York State COVID quarantine restrictions on Virginia and Maryland. Actually, I know of at least one family who essentially ended up canceling their wedding. It was going to be here in New York, but half their family was coming from one part or from one state. The other family was coming from another state. And then they were actually visiting in some other state, and basically none of them could make it, including their officiant, the person who was going to marry them, because of all the quarantine rules. So they're like, well, I guess we're canceling the wedding because the person who's supposed to marry us is quarantined, family's quarantined, we're quarantined. I guess we're going to have to redo this some other time. So
Yeah. No, that stinks. And again, I understood the caution initially. I get that there's still need for some caution. I think what most people are looking for, though, is, okay, so at what point in time, at what level of illness, infection rate, hospitalization rate, do we return to normal? Mm-hmm. And I think it's a fair question to ask.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are starting to wonder, are these restrictions at this point just arbitrary? Is there a plan to move forward? or is it just we're going to keep these restrictions on forever, which harms businesses and stops life in a lot of ways, stops the marriages, stops big events where you might be able to do stuff safely.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see what happens after the election, because that would be a great way to all of a sudden say the economy's doing really well. To just reopen the economy, like, oh, election's done, look at how good of a job somebody did because the economy just exploded. And really it's just government taking their boot off of the neck of the local economy. But I feel like we have plenty of elected officials that are that shady and sketchy that they would totally do that. Like if their guy or gal wins the election, and they go, hey, let's open up the economy now and make it look like things got really good as soon as somebody got elected. I could see that happening for sure. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some documents released by the city about Daniel Prude's death, stuff that happened before his interaction with the police, what happened after and during. It's like 323 pages. I got through 185 of them. We're going to talk about that and more when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Escape from the everyday to a getaway at Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Woodcliff features elegantly appointed accommodations, creative cuisine, themed suites, full-service spa Elan, and is Rochester's best venue for outdoor wedding receptions overlooking the city skyline. Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, where the experience is extraordinary. Located in Fairport, call 585-381-4000 or visit woodcliffhotelspa.com.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson with us, and there's 323 pages of internal documents released by the city of Rochester in regards to Daniel Prude's death. Kevin, why don't you give us just a little bit of background on Daniel Prude? What happened for anybody who is maybe listening who is either out of the area or just out of the know?
Yeah, no, again, and we covered this last week too. It's been an ongoing story, but Daniel Prude was a guy who was going through a mental health crisis, was acting pretty erratically. His brother called the police because they thought he might hurt himself. And when the police detained him, he was naked. And, and this has happened in, mid-March of this year. And, you can see the video, and he's sitting there, no clothes on the street. He has a spit hood over his head. He wasn't given a blanket or anything. And then, he was apparently acting, erratically still. The police restrained him, and then Daniel Prude died because of those police restraints. And again, that's not editorializing. That is what the Monroe County medical examiner said. He died from asphyxiation from complications from police restraints.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you're listening to this show or you're seeing news articles about this, the body cam footage is available. I want to say it's about 8 minutes long. It's probably available on every major news network at this point. It's worth you just looking at it. If you get queasy when you see stuff, maybe you don't want to see it, but I would recommend you seeing it yourself with your own eyes, so that as you hear people talking about this, because probably you have, and some people have gotten extremely defensive on both sides with their own projections and thoughts on what the facts are. You can just watch the body cam footage. I'll give you an example. When he was being restrained in the body cam footage that I saw, it looked like there were two officers on him, one with their hands on his head and the other with a knee in his back. And I had like an untold number of people tell me that just simply wasn't true, that nobody had their knee on his back. And I don't know where they got that from, because I saw it in the footage, and then I read it in the police report where the officer said, "I took my knee and put it on the center of his back." What I didn't realize is there was a third officer who also had his legs pinned down. So watch the video, see it for yourself, read parts of the report, so you can just know what the facts are at this point, as published, and basically don't let people just project their opinions on what happened. You can actually just watch what happened.
Yeah, you can see for yourself, and it's easy to just get caught up in the red versus blue fight in this, and fail to see what actually happened in this. And what we want to do in this show is we want to discuss, all right, well, what actually happened? Does anyone have any responsibility, like criminal or otherwise, for what happened? And then how do we make it better? Let's focus on what the solution is, instead of getting caught up in the partisan nonsense that we always get caught up in.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I will say too, as I was reading through these documents released by, I'm assuming the city released these documents, right? It's all city documentation.
Yeah, correct. The mayor released them, so keep in mind that there's going to be an investigation about this, and this is the stuff the mayor chose to release. Yeah. So there could be more, right? This wasn't like a FOIL request where somebody specifically foiled this information. This was like, this is what we're going to release, probably to avoid a FOIL request. Honestly. Yeah. They probably think like, if we put out this information, maybe nobody will ask for more. But Kevin, it sounds like a few people have been let go, maybe suspended with or without pay in the city as recent as yesterday. Yeah. So yesterday, the mayor did a news conference when she announced this document dump. It was at the end of the day. She didn't take any questions, and neither did the communications staff. So we'd already announced that, or we'd already talked about on the show how the chief of police and the senior command staff were going to retire or take a voluntary demotion. Now the chief of police is out. He has been relieved of duty. He was kind of staying on for a little bit, but now he's been officially relieved of duty by the mayor. In part, she's saying so because of the information found in these documents. So is the director of communications, and so has I believe the city corporation counsel, which is like the city's like head lawyer. So you can look at these documents, and the reason why, like the communications director is getting suspended without pay. He didn't get fired. He got suspended without pay. Same with the city attorney, is because the Laurent Singletary, the outgoing chief of police, had told Justin Roche, is his name, about this incident pretty quickly, and the chief of police said that the mayor knew about this. The mayor was in the loop about it. The mayor saying that she wasn't. But apparently it was on Justin to make a better decision to release this information. I don't know, I guess, or tell the mayor about it if the mayor didn't know. The mayor says she didn't know until August about this.
So the reason for the suspension is, he said, yes, the mayor knows about this. Mayor says, no, I didn't know about this. You should have told me about this. Bye-bye, but not really. That's,
Yeah, basically.
Kinda...
Yeah. So, like, I mean, this is a quote from Laurent Singletary, the chief of police, is, the mayor's been in the loop on such since 3/23, the day of the incident. That's what Laurent Singletary said.
So was he fired for that statement? Is that the reason he was let go?
For a lot of reasons.
Okay.
I mean, there's some other stuff in here we can get into, but a lot of it is just either not pursuing an investigation aggressively enough, not telling the mayor about this aggressively enough. The mayor sent an email to the chief of police basically in August saying, you know, that she should have known about this incident sooner, and that now all use of force incidents had to be reviewed by the mayor.
Oh, wow.
And so that's, yeah. And that was an August 4th email.
Okay.
And that's when the mayor supposedly saw that. But, you know, he did send this email on, it was early March, maybe March 30th, basically saying, you know, suggestion, here's what happened. They built their own narrative and said that he was trying to thrash around, trying to grab the police officer's gun, that they didn't want to release the body cam footage, and they said the medical examiner's office said that he died of PCP, excited delirium, and resisting arrest. Now, the medical examiner's report did not say that he died of resisting arrest, because that's not how that works.
It's not even the medical examiner's ability to say that. Wouldn't be a part of the report. How would they know they weren't there? They can give a medical cause of death.
Yeah, so that was what stood out to me on that. It was those two things in this email to the communications directors, that Daniel Prude died of resisting arrest. You don't die of resisting arrest. You know, he died because police officers used a restraint on him that ultimately killed him. So, and you could argue, and people certainly are, that the restraint was appropriate and by the books, and we've talked about this all last show. But he didn't die of resisting arrest. He died because the police officer's restraint killed him.
Yeah, and I will say too, in reading through these documents, there is this. I'm looking for a name of what this document is. It doesn't. I don't even see a document number on this. I don't know if this is an incident report. Some of the wording is cut off, so I'm not sure what the title of this document is. But it looks like each officer filled this out, and there's kind of a list of check boxes that the officer can check off in terms of what they used for what's called tactical effectiveness. And the list is is a little bit scary. Like some of the stuff that is on here, it's just, I don't know, makes you feel a little tingly, I guess, when you read it. I had to Google what some of this stuff was, like a hypoglossal nerve, and like a jugular notch and brachial stun, and some of this other stuff that they're allowed to do as tactical effectiveness to subdue somebody. And it's right there, multiple choice. Just check off the boxes what you did. That's approved, okay, ready to go. So we'll talk about that. We're going to take a break. We'll talk about some of what's on this report and a little more about what's been brought to light through these documents. You guys are listening to Radio Free New York. We'll be back in a moment.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mainly clear skies, not as chilly. We'll drop back into the 50s overnight. Wednesday, a beautiful day, hazy with some of that smoke from the western wildfires. Otherwise, good amount of sunshine. Warm day near 80. Could be a shower or two. Thursday near 70. Much cooler weather Friday. I'm Rich Cornelia on WYSL.
At Victor Chevrolet, we want you to know we are here for your transportation needs. Our factory-trained specialist in the Victor Service Department can expertly handle any repair. Our concierge service can arrange for pickup and delivery of your vehicle if you choose. We are here for repairs, maintenance, inspections, warranty work, and recalls. Victor Chevrolet can help no matter where you bought your car or truck. And if you need a new vehicle, Victor can sell you a car virtually on our website, victorchevrolet.com, or at our store. Call 869-6196. Trade-ins, financing, leasing, they're all available remotely and at your convenience. We're here to fully serve Chevy customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Depend on Victor Chevrolet, here for you with sales or any service issue, no matter where you bought your vehicle. Give us a call at 869-6196 or visit victorchevrolet.com. You can depend on the team at Victor Chevy for all your transportation needs, now and in the future.
I'm Steve Tasker, and I want you to know that Heritage Christian Services is growing and hiring people to assist adults with developmental disabilities. Over the years, my wife and I have come to know the agency, and we've seen firsthand how the staff provides compassionate and dignified support each and every day. Listen to why people like working at Heritage Christian Services.
I didn't have any experience working closely with people, like following their health plans and assisting them with daily tasks. But Heritage Christian Services helped me to learn the balance between respecting a person's independence and being there to support them when necessary. Working here makes me feel like I have more than just a job, and I appreciate the generous benefits and paid time off.
You don't need experience to apply to Heritage Christian Services, but you need to be dedicated to serving others. They'll give you the training you need, a chance to earn national credentials, and an opportunity to grow as a person. For job opportunities, visit futureyoucareers.org. That's futureyoucareers.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
As the word tells us that all things are to be done decently and in order, we all have a desire to be more organized. Get Organized has been helping their clients effectively organize their living spaces with custom closets, pantries, garage storage systems, and more for over 30 years. Get Organized can be reached online at www.closetsrochester.com or by phone at 585-223-3646. Get Organized with closetsrochester.com today.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, East Main Street, next to the Bank of Castile.
Scotty's Detail Auto Body is open for collision, dents, paint, and detail needs. Remember, it's the collision shop of your choice when the need arises. Pickup and delivery available. Call 226-6120. Scotty's Detail Auto Body, Avon.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson with us. And what we're doing today is we're just looking through the documentation that the city of Rochester released on Daniel Prude's death. For those of you who might not be aware of this, it's been just kind of all over the country at this point. The body cam footage of the black man naked in the street while it was snowing had a what appeared to many people as a plastic bag put over his head. It was actually a spit hood, and then was restrained on the ground by police officers and ultimately ended up dying. More information's coming out about this, and the city, or the mayor specifically, released this documentation, and it kind of seems like, and I'm getting messages from people, not only online, but also, like here on my cell phone, some people are listening, which I always appreciate you guys listening to the show, kind of wondering if the mayor is firing people, letting them go, and suspending anybody who might be able to prove or implicate that she knew about this way back in March instead of here in August, and if she's just trying to cover things up as best as she can, and if there's any way that there's a record of who has viewed this footage, like is there like a user log or something like that, or some sort of sign-in sheet or anything to say, who has viewed what footage. I don't know the answer to that. Kevin, do you have any idea?
Yeah, so, I wouldn't know if they had any user log of who saw the footage. You would certainly be able to see emails, and I know that Rochester City Council is opening an investigation on this, and they're certainly going to foil any emails between her and the chief of police or any of the, other police leadership, things like that, and meeting records, I'd assume too, to say like, all right, if you did know about it, when did you know? And yeah, that's kind of my worry with this too. I don't know if the mayor knew about this right away and if she's misleading people. I would say that a lot of her behavior makes people think that.
Yeah.
And what'll be interesting is what happens if city council subpoenas LaRon Singletary and asks them, well, when did you tell the mayor about this?
Yeah.
And maybe his answer is, well, we just told, her senior leadership, and their senior leadership didn't share that. Maybe that's really it.
Could be. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this unfolds. This whole entire thing. Obviously, it's bad. It's terrible. It looks bad. It looks terrible. And what I find interesting is that at this point, the protesters who have been really, really on this, and actually we had a comment come in from Gia on Facebook, who she said, "I'm proud of our protesters. They're keeping the pressure on our local government while remaining peaceful every single day since this came out. More needs to be done, but it's happening." And, I had a conversation with a couple people this morning about, as I was reading through these documents and reading through these reports and just seeing a lot of the misinformation that has been out there and where it's been clarified in these documents. And I wondered to myself, and we kind of discussed this, which is if people didn't press this issue, would we have ever known about it? Would it be getting the type of scrutiny that it's now getting, where city council is doing what they're doing, the chief of police has now been let go instead of being allowed to retire, certain staff members being suspended, maybe justly, maybe unjustly, maybe we'll find out, maybe we'll never know. A ton of pressure on the mayor, a ton of pressure on Adam Bellows, both of which are Democrats, by the way. So it's not even like this is a party lines issue right now. Would any of this have happened at all if people weren't out there protesting and saying this is a problem? And my gut feeling says that we would have never heard about this otherwise. What do you think, Kevin?
No, I agree. I think the pressure from the protests at this particular time, too, coming, a couple months after the George Floyd protest, I think that's made Rochester a national spotlight, and the rallies and protests every single night have really pushed the political situation to make it untenable for the mayor to continue not talking about this. So that's where we're at, and and again, we're trying to sort through like what makes sense in here, right? Like there's other stuff in here that like complicates the narrative. I'll say like and maybe it doesn't for you, but like the RPD professional standards section says like no evidence to suggest any misconduct and or misjudgment on the part of the involved officers. So RPD thinks everything's fine.
Yeah. And this document, I brought it up before the break, but there's a list of what appear to be like acceptable by the book tactics that the officers can check off that they did. And so, under this is part 13 here. Let me just scroll just a little bit. It says tactical effectiveness. Choose the box indicating whether the tactic was used. If the tactic was used, write the number 1, 2, 3, indicating what the order of the tactics were. In the column 1 and column 2, write E for effective, ME for moderately effective, or NE for not effective. And so I'm just going to give you the list of things that are just on this form. Some of these make perfect sense, especially being in law enforcement. There are times that some of these things you would need to use. Some of these other things are, I think maybe we should question it a little bit. That's just me and my unexperienced, looking at this. I don't work in law enforcement. Maybe we can get somebody who does work in law enforcement to give us a little bit of feedback. But let me just read the list off for you. So verbal, that kind of makes sense. Saying stop, don't move, that stuff. Mandibular angle. I'm not quite sure what that is. Tried Googling it. Didn't get a good explanation. Hypoglossal nerve, which I was able to find out what that is. And that's like somebody taking their hand and shoving it up underneath your jawbone, kind of like into your neck, to make it so your tongue can't move anymore. That's got me a little uncomfortable just thinking about it.
Which they used on Daniel Prude, and they
yes,
list that in
it
the
was.
report.
It was used on him. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I Googled that one specifically. To go on with the list: jugular notch, clavicle notch, brachial stun, suprascapular stun, jab, front kick, straight punch, angle kick, forearm strike, knee strike, spear. I don't know what spear is. I'm assuming it doesn't involve a javelin, though. Yeah. That's something that maybe somebody can fill us in on the comments or call in and let us know. Hooking technique, also not sure what that is. Ground stabilization, and then it gives a couple examples. 3-point landing, joint manipulation, stuff like that. That was also checked off. Then bilateral compression, arm lock with baton, front jab with baton, rear jab with baton, forward strike, middle strike, reverse strike, strong side horizontal strike, support side horizontal strike, OC, which I don't know what OC is. Kevin, do you know what OC is?
No, I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Taser, beanbag, handgun, long gun, and then 2 spots for other. So they've got quite a bit available to them. Some of the stuff I'm uncomfortable with, and maybe we should evaluate some of this. And I know what I'm going to get from somebody, because I had it during the last show. I had somebody who was saying, when I was talking about we should be reviewing the standards, because it's come out from the police union, it's come out from various organizations, that what these officers did was by the book. They followed all the rules, they did everything right. And so my response to that is, maybe we should review the book, and we should look at the standards that are in place and see, do they still make sense? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm kind of feeling like we need to update a few things. I think that there's maybe a few other tools in the toolbox that can be used for mental hygiene arrests that could have maybe prevented his death. And I'm just putting that out there. Some people took that as me being anti-cop, which is not the case at all. I'm not even talking about the officers. I'm talking about the policies and procedures that were deemed accessible or acceptable, that they were then taught and told this is okay to do. I'm talking about the standards here. I'm not talking about the officers as individuals. I don't know them. I don't know who they are. I'm not assessing if they're good people or bad people. What I'm saying is, it sounds like they followed the rules, and I'm saying maybe we should question the rules a little bit. And when I read this form, I feel that way just even a little bit more. So, music's playing. That means it's break time. Gonna take a break here. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we're better together, and together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
A reminder from Abatement Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Radio Free New York.
Welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson with us. And I did want to address a couple of the comments here. Looks like they're coming through on Facebook. Todd actually helped us figure out a couple of things on this checklist. So OC is pepper spray, which makes sense, and spear is a running tackle. So that sounds a lot better than javelin or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I saw Drew actually asked a question a little bit earlier in the show. He asked if there was laughter going on during the video of the incident. And Drew, I don't recall if there was laughing, but I do recall them kind of taunting him and making fun of him, and kind of repeating his words in like a mocking sort of way. I don't remember if there was laughter or not, but certainly he was being mocked by the officers on scene, and it was unprofessional. Like, I remember watching it and thinking, like, that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So, and then Karen on Facebook says, just wondering how long has the checklist been in effect? That's a great question. I have no idea. We'd probably have to FOIL request the police department to see when the last time this document was updated. So that's a good question. I'm not sure if this has been in place since the 90s maybe and never updated, but I know that in one of these documents they actually referenced updated manuals that basically approved these techniques, and most of them were updated as of 2020 this year. So at the very least, it was most of the stuff was reviewed this year and deemed acceptable at some point in time during this year. And then the next thing that we really got to talk about, and Kevin brought this up, is there's some stuff circulating on social media about this, even on some news websites, that, once again, it's not Fake News Friday, but there's some fake news going on. Kevin, I'll let you have this one, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, so there's an image going around with one of the documents, and I think it's on page 72 or 73, and it says, it circles Daniel Prude's name, and it says, make him a suspect, right? And right now he's listed as a victim, and so people have been kind of implying that what this was like they're trying to frame him to make him look like he deserved what happened to him. And I think you can make that case better in some of the emails and how the incident was portrayed. But I think in this case, suspect would be still appropriately someone called for a mental hygiene arrest. And he was also apparently a suspect in an attempted burglary at the time. I guess he tried to break into a window. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And so oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a lot of really awful information in here that we need to hold our city leadership accountable for. I don't know that this one's it. I don't know that's the smoking gun that proves that policing itself is corrupt, which is what I've seen a lot of people say. And I'm not sure that's it. It's more in the nuance of, look at the email that LaRon Singletary sent to the director of communications. I see that stuff, and I'm more like, oh, here's where we need to really be paying attention and how they're trying to reframe the narrative around it. Or the email from Mark Simmons, who is the interim chief of police, saying that he didn't want the body cam footage to come out. He said, and this is an email from Mark Simmons to LaRon Singletary. I respectfully request that we have a meeting with Corporation Counsel prior to release of this video. Due to the current climate in the city and nation, we certainly do not want people to misinterpret the officer's actions and conflate this incident with any recent killings of unarmed black men by law enforcement nationally. That would be a false narrative and could create animosity and potential violent blowback in this community as a result. And that was June 4th.
Yeah. Yep.
And so this was, again, months after. This is when the George Floyd protests were going on in Rochester.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with you. I've read about 185 pages of this document, and there have been numerous reports in here with kind of the same like red line on it, which appear to be, as I'm reading these documents, they typed up the reports, they submitted them, they became an official record, and then upon review, they noticed mistakes, things that were, and when I say mistakes, these are things that didn't change the meaning of the report. For example, there was a part where he said on his left side, and in red line, it was like, this should say jaw, not side. And just kind of like updating some of the spellings and stuff in kind of like this exact same format. So what I believe this document, page 72, if you guys are following along, I'm going to go ahead and paste the link to this in the chat in case any of you guys want to see it. In page 72, it's in here, and victim type and name are circled in red, and it says make him a suspect. I think what this is saying is that he shouldn't have been listed as an individual. He should have been listed as a suspect based on the type of format of this report. I don't think that this is saying do shady stuff. That's not how I'm reading this, and that's based on the rest of the document. Like Kevin said, there's plenty of shady stuff in here. It's just I don't think this is it.
This one ain't it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and the emails exchange going back and forth where and I forget who it was. I'm like so deep into this document at this point I can't even find it. But when there was a response back, I believe to the chief of police, who said, yeah, we can hold it, and I believe they were talking about the footage, but there's already been a lawsuit filed, and I suspect that they're going to win. So, that sort of thing is like, yeah, you're asking for something, we're going to try, but we're going to lose here. We kind of already know it. You sure we should go this route? Like, that's kind of like how I read that email, reading between the lines there. So, and there's so many examples of this going back and forth, including there were a couple emails that I found very interesting. I think it was the medical examiner's office where they wanted to hear the officer's testimony before reviewing the body, and just a few other things that were kind of like, is that okay? Is that an allowed thing? I'm not sure if that's appropriate or not, and maybe it is. I don't know. But being not a part of law enforcement, that kind of felt like somebody could create a bias before somebody walks in to like do an analysis of an issue.
Right, exactly. And the lawsuit thing is on page 92 and 93. There's a discussion about that. Yeah, because I'm scrolling through. I was like, I remember this around here somewhere. There's a whole bunch of stuff on it. It's a lot to go through, and I wasn't able to go through all of it. I saw some of the highlights from other local reporters and whatnot, and I tried to scroll through as much as possible myself. But there's a lot here, and we'll kind of see over the next few days what happens, what the internal investigation said, and hopefully we'll see, from city council if there's anything that the mayor did know and she didn't tell us. We're gonna find out.
It'll be interesting. The people are upset with the mayor. They're upset with city council. They're upset with county leadership. People are really angry right now, so it's going to be a very, very interesting next couple of weeks and next couple of months. Thank you so much for listening to Radio Free New York. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.